my sister declared. Your boy is unworthy of attending my son's birthday. This came after I denied her a luxury vehicle. The room burst into laughter. My quiet response. Everyone receives what they truly deserve. They were oblivious to the reckoning that awaited them the very next day. I thought I knew what family loyalty meant, until I said no to buying my sister a luxury car. The next words out of her mouth were a gut punch that changed everything. Then your son doesn't deserve to attend his cousin's birthday. Can you even imagine that? Asterisk asterisk, my name's Craig. I'm 34, a music producer, a dad to a 7-year-old tornado named Mason. And yeah, I'm the older, less shiny sibling in a family that never really hid who their favorite was. My whole life, I've built songs for other people. Hooks, bridges, little miracles on a deadline. But at home, I've always been the quiet fix-it guy. The one who showed up with jumper cables, with a checkbook, with a shrug and a sure, I can help. I grew up in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment, right over a nail salon. The soundtrack of my childhood was those drier, thrumming noises, hushed voices through thin walls, and my mom whisper yelling about bills. My sister, Lily, she learned early on that the best way to get attention was to need something loudly. I learned the opposite. Just stay useful, stay small. Later, when I finally started getting real work, late nights in studios, then a small hit, then another, my family rebranded that old dynamic. It wasn't Craig is struggling anymore. It was Craig is blessed. Craig can help. And I never argued. When I landed my first placement on a charting single, I replaced our parents' broken AC. That same week, when my dad's truck transmission died, I paid the shop. And when Lily temporarily needed help with rent, I covered 3 months. Then 6. It always sounded temporary. Always. If you asked me what my childhood smelled like, I'd tell you it was the burning dust when the heater kicked on for the first time in winter. But if you asked me what adulthood smelled like, that's coffee at 2 a.m., the inside of a rideshare at sunrise, and that weird, metallic plastic smell of new debit cards arriving because the old ones had just maxed out. Again, a few weeks ago, my mother insisted we do a proper family dinner at their place. Roast chicken, paper napkins, the same wobbly dining table from 1999. Mason was coloring a dinosaur with a highlighter, sitting between me and my dad. Lily came in 15 minutes late, wearing a white tracksuit and sunglasses, like she was dodging paparazzi in our cul-de-sac. She air-kissed my mom's cheek, glanced at Mason's shoes, and then, completely out of nowhere, she just said, "Still doing hand-me-downs?" I felt that familiar burn, but I swallowed it down and kept cutting Mason's chicken. Halfway through dessert, Lily tapped her spoon against her bowl. "Okay," she said, bright and casual. "My car died. For real this time." And then, she looked right at me. "So, Craig, I sent you the links for the G-class. I want the matte one. It's cute. You'll love it." I said no. It felt like I'd spoken a language nobody at that table understood. There was this stunned silence, and then laughter. Actual laughter. Even my dad chuckled into his napkin. My mom waved a hand. "Oh, he's just teasing, honey." "I'm not," I said, my voice flat. Lily turned to Mason, smiling like it was all a big joke. "Your daddy's so funny." I put down my fork. Hard. "I'm not buying you a car." That's when she leaned back, like she was settling in for a show. "Then your son doesn't deserve to attend my son's birthday." She said it slowly, deliberately, as if savoring every word. "Why should he eat cake I paid for?" Someone, maybe my aunt, snorted. Someone else murmured, "Savage." The room suddenly felt hot and impossibly small. Mason looked up at me, his eyes wide and confused. His highlighter paused mid-T-Rex. I took a deep, shaky breath. "Everyone will get what they deserve," I said quietly, to no one in particular. They kept laughing. They had no idea what was awaiting them the next day. Here's the part people miss when they retell this story. Saying no wasn't some shocking plot twist for me. It was literally the only line left. For years, I did the math so nobody else had to. Lily was always the artist, the free spirit, the brand. She changed majors 3 times, then careers 4. She sold candles for a while, then lashes, then coaching. And every single try came with a launch party and a payment plan, my payment plan. When my first real check hit, I did what poor kids do. I distributed it. Mom's dental work, $1,800. Dad's overdue property taxes, $3,212. Lily's last month of rent before the business pops, $1,300. I told myself I was breaking a cycle. I told myself, you don't heal scarcity with lectures, you heal it with groceries. The small humiliations just blended into routine. Craig, sweetie, can you send me $65? The gas bill did a thing. I sent 100. Craig, babe, my card somehow stopped working at Sephora, and I'm literally in line. $250. Big bro, can you float me for 2 weeks? 2 weeks became 20. When Mason was born, the request came wrapped in baby talk. You don't want your nephew to freeze, do you? You don't want Nana to worry. You don't want the family to look bad. It was never a question. It was a test I kept passing. If I ever even hesitated, the scoreboard came out. Mom would remind me of the time she sold her jewelry for my saxophone in middle school. Dad would remind me he taught me how to drive in a parking lot on Sundays. And Lily? Lily would send a 2 a.m. paragraph about how hard it is to be a woman entrepreneur in this economy. I'd read it on my phone in a dark studio, with some rapper snoring on the leather couch beside me, a mix bouncing at 72%. Then I'd sigh, open my banking app, and perform the ritual. I tried to set boundaries once. A soft run. Hey, let's make a budget together. Lily just rolled her eyes. Mom smiled like I'd brought home a finger painting. Dad said, real men don't nickel and dime family. The very next week, I covered a $312 tow because, apparently, a real man doesn't let his sister stand on a median. The problem wasn't one ask. It was the entire economy of our house. Lily's wants were emergencies. My emergencies? Those were just character flaws. The last year, everything amped up. My career finally hit a stable stride. Steady placements, a couple of hooks that did real numbers, a sync deal that actually paid for Mason's school. That's when Lily rebranded again. Interior stylist. She announced her relaunch in the group chat with a mood board, a selfie, and a list. iPad Pro, 1 terabyte for sketches. Studio camera for reels. Car that matches the brand. She even wrote, we can do CLA, Craig, or you can be my CLA, LOL. Then a winking emoji. And then, P.S. You owe me for all the times I watched Mason. For the record, those times were 3 total, and I paid her $20 an hour plus Uber both ways. When I didn't respond, she escalated. She started texting me directly. Mercedes G-Class, Matt Gray. It's literally my personality. She sent a screenshot of the price. $168,000. They'll hold it if we put down $20,000. You can do that, right? You make music. You're fine. I wrote back, no. She sent a voice note. Elmo. Okay. Comedian. And then, I already told Jordan we'd take the kids to Disney in the G-Wagon. Don't be weird about this. Then came the group thread performance. Family. She typed, Craig is acting brand new. Followed by a string of laugh emojis. My aunt typed, you know he always comes through. Mom. Craig has a big heart. Dad. Your sister needs stability so she can build. Be a man. I typed, then deleted. Typed, deleted. 2 days later, Lily called while I was comping vocals. If you say no, then Mason doesn't come to Jaden's party. Simple. There was music playing behind her, something with a tiny bass. She didn't sound angry. She sounded bored. Boundaries, she said, like it was a new word she'd learned on a podcast. This is mine, Lily, I said, keeping my voice low so Mason in the other room wouldn't hear the edge. That's your nephew. Then act like a brother, she snapped and hung up. That threat turned into a group policy within 24 hours, because nothing spreads faster than something cruel that looks like a joke. If you love family, you show up, Mom texted. You can't pick and choose. Then, it's only one car. Dad called and launched into a speech about fathers providing. I let him talk for 5 minutes before I finally said, I provide for my son. He replied, exactly. The night before that dinner, Lily sent me an invoice in Notes app font, like a meme. Emotional support, $999. Babysitting, unpaid, $1,200. Exposure from tagging you, $50,000. Being my sister, priceless. I stared at it, just utterly exhausted. I closed the app. I told Mason to pick a t-shirt for his cousin's party, because we were still invited. This was before she said that awful sentence across the chicken, and they all just laughed. He picked one with a skateboard on it. He asked if Jaden would have a piñata. I said yes, because I still believe people only said the worst thing once for attention, then walked it back. They didn't. At that dinner, after she said, Your son doesn't deserve to attend my son's birthday. Nobody corrected her. My mom's mouth did a tight, brittle smile. My dad poured more iced tea. My aunt whispered, "That's harsh," but she was smiling when she said it. Lily kept eating, like she'd just measured, cut, and served a fundamental truth. Something inside me shifted, but it wasn't anger. It wasn't even hurt. It was just a clean, hollow click. I paid for everybody's DoorDash on the way home, because that's what my muscle memory did when I felt bad. I fed people. I tucked Mason in. I sat on the edge of his bed and watched him sleep, his small hand resting on a plastic T-Rex under the nightlight glow. Then I went to my desk and opened a new note. Title, Boundaries. The next morning was Jaden's party. It was all balloons and sugar, an inflatable slide, a rented cotton candy machine, 16 kids with faces painted like tigers. Paw Patrol blared from a Bluetooth speaker. The driveway had a sign that said, "Welcome Jaden's crew," in foil letters. Right under it, a rule: no gifts over $100. Experiences only. Lily's brand of humble. I parked down the street because I know how my family works, and I wanted 30 seconds to breathe before I walked into it. Mason squeezed my hand. "Do I give him the card now?" he asked. We'd made it together. A drawing of a blue car, $5 folded inside from his allowance. It looked so small in my palm. As we stepped up the path, Lily saw us and lifted her chin. Jordan, the on-again, off-again father of her son, stood beside her, holding a balloon bouquet like a shield. My mom hovered, her eyes bright with the thrill of hosting. My dad adjusted the grill, the man whose favorite thing is control wrapped in hospitality. Lily's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, you came." I kept my voice even. "We won't stay long." She looked past me at Mason. "Sorry, baby. Today is for people who support the family." My son blinked, like he was waking from a nap he didn't mean to take. "Auntie Lily," I started. She just shrugged. "Did you bring the keys to my car?" And that was it. The tiniest hinge swinging the heaviest door. I crouched to Mason's level. "Buddy, can you go sit with Grandpa for a minute?" He nodded, confused, clutching his card. I stood, looked at my sister, and I did the thing I'd avoided my entire life. I made it simple. "No," I said. "And we're leaving." She laughed. "You're seriously doing this here?" My mom stepped in. "Craig, don't cause a scene. Children are present." "You caused the scene yesterday," I said, my voice low and steady. "You said my son doesn't deserve cake. I'm just ending it." My dad set the tongs down. "Son, Dad, stop." My voice came out calm and low, the voice I use at 4 a.m. when a singer is crying in a booth and the take we need is just one boundary away. I've paid for braces, brakes, power bills, storage units, deposits, and dinners. I have 4 separate recurring charges on my statements for subscriptions I don't use, but you do. I've told myself I was helping. What I was doing was buying peace I never received. The yard had gone quiet in that way that means phones are out. You could feel the tilt. Lily's smile wobbled. "You're dramatic." "This isn't about revenge," I said. "This is about closure." I looked at my mother and at my dad with absolute clarity. Mason is not a bargaining chip. He is not a punishment you hand out when I won't finance your image. The way you talk about him, about me, it stops now. Jordan muttered, "Bro, chill." I turned to him. "This is a family conversation." He held up his hands and backed off a step. I pointed, not at anyone specific, but at the table with the cupcakes, at the rented archway, at the chalkboard sign that proclaimed Lily and Jaden's world. "I'm done underwriting this. Today, we're leaving peacefully. Tomorrow, everything I pay for stops. If there's anything with my name on it, it gets transferred or canceled. If there's money you owe, we'll put it in writing, like adults. If you want access to my son, you treat him with respect. If you want access to me, you use a complete sentence that doesn't include a $sign. Lily's eyes went glassy and hard. "So you're punishing us." "I'm accepting who you are," I said. "And I'm choosing who I am." A tiny voice behind me. "Dad, Mason." I turned. His mouth trembled. "Can I give Jaden his card?" I nodded. "Of course, buddy." Mason walked over, held the card out. Jaden took it, looked at his mom, looked at my son, and then he hugged him. Kids know the truth faster than adults. "Thanks," he whispered. We left. No slamming doors, no last words. Just my hand on my son's shoulder, guiding him past the foil letters, down the sidewalk, into our car. As I buckled him in, I heard my aunt say, "He means it." like she'd spotted a weather front on the horizon and wanted to be the first to announce rain. People think the next part was loud. It wasn't. It was a quiet, administrative storm at home. Mason asked, "Did I do something bad?" "No," I said. "You did everything right. Grown-ups made a bad rule. We don't follow bad rules." He nodded slowly, processing. Then he asked if we could go get fries. We did. We ate in the car, shoes off, radio low, the late sun turning the parking lot gold. On the way home, he fell asleep. I carried him in, kissed his hair, and let myself feel the sting behind my eyes for exactly 1 minute, timed on my phone. Then I opened my laptop. I made a list. Mom's phone on my family plan. Dad's pickup insurance I'd been temporarily covering. Lily's storage unit. My card on file, of course. 2 streaming services, a music app, and a gym membership I'd never once visited. The $4,800. I owe you, Lily texted last spring with, "I swear by Christmas." The $950 refundable deposit for a pop-up she'd canceled. I put dates next to each and dollar amounts. Then I drafted 4 emails. To Mom. Effective tomorrow, I'm removing non-household lines from my cell plan. I'll send you the steps to port your number. To Dad. Your insurance payment switches to your card on the 1st. Here are the details. To Lily. Attached is an itemized list of money you owe me with dates. Let's set a realistic payment plan. If you'd like to dispute anything, send receipts. To everyone. New boundary. I am not a lender. I am not a guarantor. I am your son/brother. If you need financial advice, I can help you find a counselor. If you need money, ask a bank. I reread each message for heat and deleted every spicy sentence. No digs. No history lessons. Just facts. The door I was closing. At 9:13 p.m., my mom called. I let it go to voicemail. At 9:14, Lily called. At 9:15, Dad. By 10:02, I had 27 missed calls and a family group thread that looked like a slot machine. I made tea. I answered none of them. The texts shifted like weather. Phase 1. Humor. LOL. Craig is doing policies now. Send a calendar invite. Laugh emojis. Phase 2. Guilt. Your grandmother would be ashamed. We're family. You're tearing us apart over a car. Phase 3. Anger. You've always thought you were better. Music money has you confused. You're selfish. You're not invited to Thanksgiving. Phase 4. Bargaining. Okay, not a G-Wagon. What about a used one? We'll pay you back quick. I sent the same reply to each. Please see email. On Monday morning, the phone plan change went through. My mom texted from a new number, frantic. I can't get into my Instagram. I sent her the carrier's support link. My dad called from work to announce I'd embarrassed him. I told him the agent at State Farm was kind and efficient. He hung up. Lily posted a story, a black background with white text. When family turns their back because they hate to see you win. The next clip was her crying. Then an affiliate link for lip gloss. I muted her. The second wave rolled in from the extended family. I heard you're cutting off your mother. I heard Mason wasn't allowed cake. I heard you're suing your sister. Rumors have legs. Truth takes the bus. I didn't feed any of them. I sent one message out. I love my family. I am setting boundaries. That's all. Then came the practical fallout. The storage unit auto charge failed. They called me. I gave them Lily's number. The gym emailed to ask why I was canceling. I have not attended in 2 years, I wrote back. It seems unfair to keep paying for air. The music app thanked me for my patronage. Lily texted. So, you're actually doing this? Yes, I wrote. You're ruining Jaden's life, she said. He needs stability, I replied. Then you will provide it. I will provide for my son. She sent a photo of Jaden's face. A pout like a weapon she didn't mind using. I put my phone face down and did the dishes. That week, I spoke to a financial counselor and asked how to formalize the debts without turning my life into court. She suggested a simple contract and realistic terms. I sent Lily a document for $1,800, payable at $200 per month starting next month, late fee $0, because I don't want to be your bank. If you miss 3 payments, we're done talking about this, I wrote. I release it. You release me. She replied, delete my number. 2 days later, my mom came by unannounced. She tried to push past me into my house, the way moms do when they can still pretend you're a teenager with dishes in your room. I stepped into the doorway. Mom, we can talk on the porch. She looked at Mason's shoes by the door. You're not the boy I raised. I know, I said. I became the man I had to be. She stared at me for a long second, then did something I wasn't expecting. She softened. You know your sister, she said, like she was explaining the weather. She says things. She said them about my son, I replied. And you laughed. My mom's mouth trembled. The truth landed where it needed to. She nodded once, like a chalk mark on a board. Then what do you need me to do? Tell the family the rule, I said. Mine. If anyone uses Mason to punish me, they don't see him. If anyone asks me for money, the answer is no. If anyone has something kind to say, the answer is yes. She nodded again. Okay, she whispered. Okay. When she left, she hugged me like she meant it, not like a squeeze to move me into position. The call slowed. The post got quieter. The silence from Lily wasn't empty. It was sharp and humming. I could feel the story she was telling strangers about me. But for once, I didn't try to edit it. I built a new routine. Mornings were for Mason's breakfast and school run. Afternoons for stems and mixes. Evenings for Legos and baths. At night, after he slept, I worked on my own EP, something I'd put off for years because other people's deadlines always ate mine. On the fourth night of the new quiet, my phone lit up at 1:11 a.m. Lily. I let it ring out. Then a text. I can't pay the storage. They'll sell my samples. I typed and deleted 10 replies. I landed on, I hope you figure it out. Craig, she wrote. The first time she'd typed my name without a joke attached to it in months. Please. I turned the phone over face down and went back to the chorus. The hook wanted to be simple. It wanted to be one line you could sing while doing dishes. I recorded a take in a whisper and smiled at the waveform. The line was nothing fancy, just true. What I don't know, I can finally give. In the morning, I took Mason to school. He ran back for a second hug. Do I still have a cousin? He asked. Always, I said. Even when grown-ups are figuring themselves out. I meant it. Boundaries aren't gates to lock. They're fences to lean on while you talk through it. But somebody has to hammer them into the ground first. It didn't end with a confession or a big speech where Lily apologized in a movie monologue. It ended with a Tuesday. On that Tuesday, a letter came, a storage unit auction notice. I forwarded it to Lily, then set the phone down. 10 minutes later, my mom called. Not frantic, just steady. We'll figure it out, she said. I'm taking her to sell some things. I told her she has to call and make a plan that isn't Craig will fix it. Thank you, I said. That evening, I drove Mason to the park. He raced other kids on scooters, slid down the slide on his stomach, laughed so hard he hiccuped. The sky was clean blue, the kind that looks edited. I sat on the bench, and finally, truly, exhaled. No buzzing phone, no math running in my head, just my son in front of me, unbothered by cars he'd never ride in. When we got home, there were 3 envelopes under my door. One from the cell carrier confirming the line change. One from the insurance company confirming the card switch. And one handmade card with messy letters. Uncle Craig, sorry about my MOM. Thank you for the $5. Love, Jaden. I sat on the floor and cried in that quiet way you do when your body finally believes you're safe. Later, Lily texted one sentence. I was wrong to say that about Mason. No emojis. No pivot. I typed, thank you. Then, before I could talk myself out of it, I added, when you're ready to make a plan for the debt, I'm here. When you're ready to see Mason, you can apologize to him, not to me. He remembers. She wrote back. Okay. I'm not pretending we became a new family overnight. There are old grooves our wheels still want to fall into. Money is still a language we don't speak well together. But now there's a sign posted, in all caps, on the road we used to take. Not this way. If you want the moral, here it is, plain, the way I wish someone had said it to me at 22 when I started passing every test they handed me. You don't owe people your peace to prove you love them. You don't owe them your future to fix their present. You owe your kid a dad who can look him in the eye and say, you're safe. I'm steady. I thought, everyone will get what they deserve sounded harsh when it left my mouth that day. Now I hear it differently. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise to myself. I will get the life I deserve because I'll stop trading it for someone else's version of love. My son will get the birthday he deserves because I'll throw it for him with $10 streamers and the good cake and no math running in the background. And my family will get the boundaries they deserve. Clear, calm, non-negotiable. Because that's the only way any of us grows up. I'm not out for revenge. I'm out of the loop. I'm not building a case. I'm building a fence. I'm not cutting anyone off. I'm cutting a door in the right place and locking the wrong one. I'm Craig. I make hooks for a living. This was mine. What do you think? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family like this? Share your experience in the comments below. I really want to hear it. Asterisk asterisk.